Gentlemen, I bring into you this information to know that space God want to you raising by raising your team, China, Russia, Mr. Putin, Korea, and few countries, Japan. If Donald Trump is the have power, God want Donald Trump raising by United States. All of you raising your power against the NATO because NATO will cause end of the China, end of the Korea. I'm talking about your country too. End of the not end but major disaster in the China, disaster in the Russia, disaster in Korea, disaster in the Japan. If your team is not raising this action, which is the God command to raising military action by nuclear explosion to the NATO, and NATO, I'm talking about this building, must be destroyed. I am bringing to you gentlemen here, you watch this video because European is going to be under fire very soon for NATO crime, for against Russia, what they did.
You'd reduce those peak temperatures that are very destructive.
But is it too good to be true?
It would be like living underneath a 100-ton boulder ready to fall at any time.
As the debate heats up, how does the world decide if this technology is a risk worth taking?
Technology in the risk. Ladies and gentlemen, you must believe European be disaster because of NATO action, what they did against Russia.
To stand up for their
future of climate change. It's not a future. We are already dealing with it and coping with it all seasons, all year round.
But
we'll wait and see a bit.
So what about the case for doing at least more research into solar geoengineering?
So solar geoengineering would most be felt by poor people in hot countries because you'd reduce those peak temperatures that are very destructive.
Like most geoengineering researchers, Professor Keith doesn't believe the idea should be a substitute for cutting emissions.
I think there's a certain kind of monomania that we can only talk about one thing. I just don't think that's ethical or good public policy. Of course we have to cut emissions, but that can't be all that climate policy comprises.
He argues that stifling research...
Ladies and gentlemen, if your team is not a stand up against this building NATO, if you don't bring in this building under this nuclear explosion, this is going to happen. Angel of the God will attack. And United States losing all their electricity, all their satellite. I am bringing to you, ladies and gentlemen, this attack must happen by this.
Кривой столб, поднимающийся с земли, быстро увеличился в объеме. Через несколько секунд после взрыва.
Ladies and gentlemen, this attack must happen by this nuclear explosion by your team. China government, Russia government, Korea government, Japan government, even India government, and many countries, Trump, if Trump, United States supporting Trump team, you must raise in this nuclear attack to this building. This building must be destroyed, gentlemen, by your side, which is I am bringing to you, by your side here. Because Joe Biden is going to be destroyed, gentlemen, very soon. Joe Biden is going to die or is going to be destroyed in United States facing disaster very soon. What Joe Biden did against Russia. So I am bringing to you, gentlemen, here, this attack, nuclear explosion, must be raised by your team, gentlemen, to this building.
Были видны в радиусе до 1000 километров.
By your team to this building.
столб, поднимающийся с земли, быстро увеличился в объеме. Через нет...
Ladies and gentlemen, I am bringing to you your team to know that you have two things to do. First, freezing NATO by military action against the NATO. You are able to send a nuclear rocket to the NATO building. From far away, you are able, China, Russia, Korea, Japan, if you come together, you are able to hit this building from far away and shutting down NATO operation, destroying NATO, because I have evidence if you don't, third war happening and China, Korea, Japan's facing disaster, gentlemen. Your first duty to brazen this military action against the NATO, and NATO can do nothing, I can tell you today, gentlemen. Don't be afraid. NATO, when this building by your team destroyed in this building, NATO fall, because angel of the God raising to attack by nuclear explosion to the NATO. You can see that this attack coming to European, gentlemen. All the electricity in European be destroyed to shutting down the NATO shift, and many countries in the European be destroyed and their army be killed in the European, forecasting to go and join the NATO when NATO is the criminal. NATO is against your future, gentlemen. NATO is anti-God and anti-Christ. So if you don't stand up for your right, gentlemen, number one, I am sending to you, gentlemen, here, number one, you must raise military action against the NATO. Number two, remember, freezing government of Canada. Canada did against you, China, against you, Russia, against you, Korea, against you, Japan, against many of your country. Canada did serious crime behind your country, gentlemen. So Canada, you can say Canada costing to your China, Russia, this terrible. You can say that by they went to the NATO and give information to NATO and sneaking around to the NATO to casting this terrible to you. My duty to send you by angel of the God, because angel of the God coming to attack European by flood to tsunami, biggest explosion ever we'll see, hitting to the European to shutting down the NATO building. But I am sending to you, gentlemen, number two, your duty to freezing government of Canada under your investigation, your team, because Canada casting major crime against your country, gentlemen. And this is your duty, gentlemen, by Russia, China, raising military action. At least you hitting all the satellites in Canada, shutting down their internet, electricity. Because if you don't do that, Canada continually costing you China, Russia, Korea, Japan, costing you crime, gentlemen. You cannot see this crime what Canada doing by NATO, by they going to the NATO behind you, costing serious crime. And God want you understand, gentlemen, Russia, Korea, you must come you two together to raising this team here together to raising military action, freezing government of Canada satellite. All their satellites, God want you completely remove of Canada, they be shut down. All their satellite electricity, because a space sun coming, as I show you here, gentlemen, by angel of the gods, a space god coming to bring in this. Because of Canada crime, behind you China, behind you Russia, behind you Japan, behind the many countries, and freezing their country. So this investigation coming by space, gentlemen, by sun heat in 2022. Sun will raising nuclear explosion by a space attack, Sodom and Gomorrah coming by heat of sun in this 2022. And I am sending to you, angel of the God, want to you raising Russia, China, Korea, Japan, all your team, Donald Trump team raising and freezing NATO by hitting this building, as I sending to you, nuclear explosion by space sending biggest atom explosion to this building, gentlemen. I am sending you to root information to act. Before this building costing you major trouble, because this is the plan by you or by space god side, my side. This building.
Полевой столб, поднимающийся с земли, быстро увеличился.
Gentlemen, you must believe this building must be destroyed to free you, China, Russia, Korea, Japan, many countries, Donald Trump team, to free you from this major disaster, because the space god side to bring in this side to the European losing all their electricity, technology, internet, gentlemen, very soon. And I am bringing to you, gentlemen, this part here to know that this is coming. And you are responsible to raise military action and freezing Canada satellite internet, gentlemen. Before Canada costing all of you serious crime, Russia, China, you are responsible. You are able to freeze government of Canada business and internet to shutting down their government because they costing all of you this crime behind you. And I am sending to you, gentlemen, to know that your responsibility, it is this by space coming to destroy them. By your side, you must attack this building.
Полевой столб, поднимающийся с земли, быстро увеличился в объеме. Через несколько секунд после взрыва
This building, gentlemen, must be destroyed this way or other way, because third war, angel of the God bringing by my investigation
Please charge.
to the NATO, by freezing, by your responsibility freezing government of Canada, gentlemen, to freezing Canada to not carry on against you, China and Russia and Korea and Japan and many countries and Donald Trump, which is this is the crime of Canada, gentlemen. You must freeze the country soon as possible, because this is going to happen. This is coming, gentlemen.
Low battery. Please charge.
This is going to happen, gentlemen. Very soon is coming by space God side to bring in this attack.